Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jamie.
I'm Justina.
And this is
Just So You Know.
Rare. Oh.
Okay, sorry. I thought I'd put some of this print on. Obviously, it's not real animal skin, because I would never do that. In light of our episode today.
It's very appropriate for the ep today.
Sometimes I'm appropriate.
Sometimes. Because today we are talking about rescues, animal rescues. It's a happy, positive episode. We're talking about animal rescues in the roadside zoo.
Yeah.
Scene.
I feel like that was another job in my past life. I was just like going down the railroad tracks, seeing some animals caged up, and I was like cutting like chains and rescuing them. I could live that life.
Yes, guys, there are some happy endings when it comes to not those type of happy endings.
Relax. My eyes just got big. That's all I did.
You weirdo.
You're the weirdo. I know how you are.
Okay, well, today we're going to be talking about rescues, and also we're going to talk about justice that was served.
Yes, I love that. That's literally what my name means. Justina means justice. Oh. And I've always like lived in my name, but like more than ever, I am like fulfilling my duty.
Well, this episode is for you, darling. Meow. Yay. So we have an amazing guest coming on. Her name is Brittany Pete, and she serves as the general counsel in the Captive Animal Law Enforcement Department. So she's going to talk about some of the rescues she's taken part in, and she's also going to share how she actually was a part of some of the rescues with the show Tiger King.
I couldn't watch that show. I was like, she was going to trigger me.
It is hard to watch, but these are the type of characters that we're dealing with in some of these roadside zoo situations. So before we get there, what's going on with you? I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you.
It's been forever since I've seen you.
I know. We're away from each other for like 2 weeks, and then...
That's a lot. When it's like a few days, we're like... And then when it's a week, it's like, oh my God, what the heck? 2 weeks is like a century for me.
I know.
But I've been good. I've been trying to work on my tan.
It's going very well for you.
Thank you. I feel more Puerto Rican than before. There was an episode I was watching the other day where I'm complaining about my tan, and you're like, I'm a snowflake or a snowman. And I was like, we're the same shade. And now we're not.
Now we're not even close.
Yay!
Well,
the before and after.
Yeah. Well, I need to hit the beach a little bit, but the problem is I burn instead of tan. So.
Well, the trick is a little bit at a time.
Okay.
You got to do the little layers. You
got to build it up.
Exactly. Yeah. Even I burn. How are you though?
I'm good. I was in LA one of the last times I FaceTimed you, I was at a protest, and it was a really weird situation. Remember that?
Yeah.
Guys, I went to this protest in LA and it turns out that a friend of mine worked for the organization that we were protesting. So
Jimmy was like, yeah.
No. So I see a friend of mine like across the field, and I was like, oh my God, like this is one of my best friends I've known for like 10 years. I was like, I can't disrupt this. I can't protest this right now. Like,
wow. See, Jamie also has conflict in her mind about what she should do.
Well, of course I agree with the message. Basically, the message was to get Lisa Vanderpump to take she fights against the dog meat trade, and she has restaurants where she serves meat. So activists were calling on her to make her menus plant-based.
Right.
Long story short, they were crashing the stage and doing a disruption. I ended up filming it because I was just like, I have been to this rescue. Like, I know these people.
Right.
I have an in a different way where I can hopefully create change. So I just ended up filming it. But my friend comes up to me. She's like, Jamie, what are you doing here?
Takes off shirt, like takes off mask. She's like, oh, hi, you could recognize me?
So I called Justina afterwards. I'm like, you're never going to believe what just happened to me. Like, that was so awkward.
It's okay. Okay. But that's amazing. Jamie is like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I know that's like an old term for you youngins, but yeah, it's a show that was like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? And that's you, Jamie. It's like, where in the world is fucking Jamie Logan?
That was good.
That was good, right? Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
I'm always like, where the hell are you? That used to be me. Now I'm like, grandma now.
Well, then I went to DC. So I was in LA. Then I went to DC afterwards for the AVA Summit, which was great. Saw a lot of activists. Definitely enjoyed myself. And so now I'm back in New York, and we have a lot going on this summer and a lot of great episodes coming up for you guys.
So many great episodes. So many great guests.
Yes.
Super excited.
Yes. So today's episode is focusing on roadside zoos and rescues, and we really want to like just share some of the amazing stories and amazing work that activists, legislators, and people working to fight for animals have done.
Right.
So speaking of wild animals, I think in general, PETA has a stance that wild animals belong in the wild.
1,000%.
Okay. However, if they're injured or they are too used to humans, or if they are sick and they for some reason can't be in the wild, the next best thing would be to have them live at an accredited facility like a sanctuary.
That makes sense.
Okay. It makes sense.
If it's done the right way, you know, because it's always can be complicated, but I know a lot of organizations that do a lot of rehabilitation.
Yeah, well, my question is, it's like, how do you define sanctuary versus a place that exploits animals? So
right.
Like, I know that there's certain gold standards and there's certain terms, so we can ask Britt about that.
Right.
But it's just like, yeah, how do you know as somebody that may be visiting, or how do you know which place to go to, which place is ethical or not?
Right, because that's confusing. A lot of people are always like, oh, no, they're really good to their animals. And then you find out later that they're not, or vice versa. Like, you know, I would be hesitant to go to a place like that just because I'd be paranoid. And then they're actually a good place, a good facility, good sanctuary.
And especially with wild animals.
Right.
You know, I've been called a wild animal.
You are a wild animal.
My day. But, you know, these wild animals, it's a level of care sometimes that, like, you know, if any place is breeding animals or letting you take photos with them or holding them, it's usually not a good sign.
Right. Slapping them so they could relax and, like, be pet. I've seen videos like that. I'm like, what the hell? If I saw that, I would immediately be like, I need to get out of here because I'm about to slap this guy in the face.
Yeah.
Slapping a baby tiger.
No.
Horrible. I've seen it. I've seen it at one of those picture places.
What is wrong with people?
I don't know. Can't stand them.
Well, let's bring Britt on.
Yes.
And let's ask her what in the world is going on with roadside zoos, and also what can we do to help?
Thanks for coming on the podcast, Brittany.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So can you let our audience know a little bit about what you do over at PETA?
Yeah, so I'm an attorney, and I lead the Captive Animal Law Enforcement Division of the PETA Foundation. And we do have a plethora of lawyers, and we call it CALE for short. But we also have a captive wildlife veterinarian. We're looking for another one. If there's anyone listening, please submit an application. We have a number of captive wildlife welfare specialists on our team. So we advocate on behalf of animals who are exploited and neglected in the entertainment industry in the United States. And a big part of that focus is on animals who are exploited in roadside zoos in the United States. There are still around 2,000 roadside zoos in the United States. So even though we've made a massive amount of progress, we still have a lot of work to do.
What is a roadside zoo?
Basically, a roadside zoo is a captive wildlife facility that exhibits animals to the public that isn't accredited by either the Association of Zoos and Aquariums or the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. And so those organizations provide an extra step of scrutiny. They have actual standards that are actually checked and verified by these third-party organizations. And usually in roadside zoos, animals are denied appropriate veterinary care, appropriately sized enclosures, any sort of environmental enrichment at all. And I always like to say, you know, a roadside zoo when you see it. It's the kind of place that Justina was just describing, where baby tigers are getting slapped in the face. And so we hear from a lot of members of the public who are really well-meaning, but they see a billboard or a sign along the road and decide to stop at a roadside attraction, and they're horrified at what they see. So we really appreciate when people contact us when they find places like this.
Right. You heard it from her. If you see something, say something. It could really make a difference and save so many lives, and start an investigation. So I know that you've had some sort of involvement in the infamous Tiger King. I did not watch that show just because I know how triggering it could have been for me, because I was hearing like comedic stuff, but then also like negative things that had to do with animals. So I was one of those people that was like, I don't even want to watch this because it's going to really enrage me. But please, like, what was your involvement with that? Because I know the show is getting a lot of positivity and all of a sudden crumbled and like went crazy.
Yeah, so I was interviewed as part of Tiger King and appeared in a few of the episodes because, of course, PETA was working on closing down the villains that were featured in Tiger King. And today, almost all of the villains in Tiger King are either out of business, in jail, or currently facing prosecution. So we've made a massive amount of progress. Most of the animals from these people have been confiscated and are in sanctuaries now. So that was really exciting. And so I was interviewing about the work that PETA has done against the villains in Tiger King, like Joe Exotic and Jeff Lowe and Tim Stark and Doc Antle and Mario Tabrawi. There was also a Tiger King season 2.
I know.
Which didn't get as much attention.
Okay.
Not a lot of people realize the amount of good that Tiger King has actually done.
Can you tell us more about that? Like what was the good that came from it?
So starting off in season 1, first of all, it just opened the public's eyes to the fact that this industry exists in the first place.
Right.
A lot of people didn't realize that big cat cub petting was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also showed people who is behind it. These are the yahoos that are behind this industry. And so it gave a lot of people pause, and it really helped to tank the industry and to reduce the demand for big cat cub petting in general. It also raised the profile of the villains, which had upsides and downsides, but ultimately it has led to their downfalls.
Great.
Because PETA was able to leverage that notoriety, and every time we got a complaint or photos of cruelty and neglect happening at their roadside zoos, we were able to get international headlines. And that led to a number of these places being shut down. And it also led to the passage of the Big Cat Public Safety Act a couple of years later. Again, because it raised the profile of this issue. And this was a bill that had been working its way through Congress for nearly a decade.
Wow.
And thanks in large part to Tiger King and also to Carol Baskin, who lobbied for it for years. Big cat cub petting is now illegal in the United States.
That's
so
amazing.
Tiger King has made a massive impact.
Justina just wanted to sing a song for us.
I don't really know all of it. I just want Carol Baskin.
Here, Carol Baskin killed her husband, whacked him. Can't convince me that it didn't happen. Fed him to the tigers, then they snacking. What's happening?
Carol Baskin. Did that really happen? Did she really feed her husband to the tigers? Because I heard that song. I was like, what's going on? I don't know if I could handle this show. There's like a lot happening. But that goes to show that like good publicity, bad publicity, something's gonna happen. You know, like because now awareness is taking place, which is a great point. I didn't think about it like that, but they thought they were going to be celebrities, and we're like, no, you're not a celebrity. You were a psychopath. lock them up.
Yeah, but narcissists like that, they love the attention.
They love it.
it's
They're like,
negative or
look it,
positive.
I'm a psycho. And you're like, no.
No, get
This
out
is
of
not
here.
something to be proud of.
Doc, sit down. Sit your fucking ass down, Joe Exotic.
That's like Joe Exotic. I was trying to remember
Yeah.
his name. Like, it really was a phenomenon, but I'm glad people started to care.
Why don't you share with us what Big Cat Rescue is and why that place has the status of a accredited facility for animals to be rescued and go to?
Yeah, so Big Cat Rescue was a sanctuary for large and exotic cats. It was based in Tampa, Florida, and it was accredited by the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, which is the gold standard accrediting body for true sanctuaries around the world. Its member sanctuaries never buy, sell, or breed animals. They provide animals with lifetime care, and the standards for these places, the animal welfare standards, are top of the line. It's really wonderful, and I visited Big Cat Rescue a number of times.
I've been there.
In the past year, Carol and her husband Howard have retired, and the animals at Big Cat Sanctuary were transferred to the Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Also GFAS accredited, and it's wonderful. And so now all the Big Cat Rescue cats are still receiving excellent care, but in Arkansas.
Nice.
So why don't you tell us about a specific rescue, maybe a specific animal? Let's hear some of their names, and I need some positive rescue
Yeah. Okay, who do you want to hear about? Do you want to hear about a bear or a chimpanzee?
I want to
or
hear about a
lion
bear. We
or a
never talk
tiger?
about bears. Bears, I feel I love bears.
I want to hear about them all.
yeah.
Okay.
But definitely bear.
Settle in. Okay. No, let's talk about a bear named Dillan.
Oh.
Dillan lived at a sportsman's club in Pennsylvania.
What's that?
Like a club for people who hunt.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, so there was a restaurant on site, and there was a shooting range right next to Dillan's enclosure. And so he wasn't able to hibernate because there were people shooting
my
guns
God.
constantly. And they fed him restaurant scraps. And so he was morbidly obese. His enclosure was so small.
He was like
and
kind of
barren.
happy. He was like, I got my crack food.
Yeah.
Don't condone this.
I don't condone this, but he was probably excited. He was like, I like those rice and beans and
Sit down and let her finish.
So he is an Asiatic black bear, and he weighed 3.5 times the average weight of a male Asiatic black bear. He was so obese that his stomach dragged on the floor.
Oh no.
It was really difficult for him to move, and he had severe dental disease.
Oh no.
You could actually, and he'd had it for years. The USDA had documented it. It was so severe that there was a hole that had rotted through his gums as a result of the infection and decay. And he just bounced back and forth in his enclosure all day because he was in so much pain.
Oh no.
The law enforcement authorities and regulatory authorities who should be acting on behalf of these animals usually don't, and they didn't for Dillan. They let him suffer for years.
Wow.
But thanks to a massive campaign from PETA, Dillan was rescued, and he was transferred to the Wild Animal Sanctuary in Colorado, which is an incredible sanctuary, mainly for large carnivores. And he started getting antibiotics and pain medication for his dental disease. And as soon as he got to the sanctuary, he stopped his bouncing.
And he also was the best weight loss story. That bear. He's like, I lost 100+ pounds, and here's
like,
how I did it.
This is what happened to me. Oh, poor Dillan. That's so sad.
I'm glad he's happy.
But he
happy
is
now.
still with us. He was rescued several years ago. He's living his best life.
I
He
wish
has
we had a
the
before and
biggest
after picture right now.
personality.
I just want a before and after
Yes.
picture for him. I want to see it.
Well, go to PETA.org. Anyone can go to PETA.org and search for Dillan, Dillan, and you'll find some wonderful videos of him. But the sanctuary built him a special pool that he could walk into because the above ground pools that they use, he couldn't get his stomach over it when he tried to climb in. Bless his heart.
But
so
now he's got the best summer bod around.
He's got abs now.
Ready for the pool. What would you say to somebody that's like, well, shouldn't Dillan be released back into the wild?
It would be amazing if every animal like Dillan could just be released into the wild. But the reality is animals like Dillan are habituated to humans. They've learned to see humans as sources of food. And so whenever an animal is habituated to humans, I mean, we see it in the headlines here in the United States all the time. Anytime a bear goes to a house to try to take food or there's any sort of interaction with a human, they end up dead.
Oh, no.
So release into the wild would be a death sentence for an animal like Dillan. And the other issue with someone like Dillan is he had these massive health issues. If he would have been released into the wild, he would have died as a result of those health issues because he's going to require lifetime monitoring. And a lot of bears who live in captivity in the United States have arthritis because these are animals who are active during the time of year when they're active for up to 18 hours a day.
Right.
And they roam miles and miles every single day. So when they're confined in these tiny roadside zoo enclosures, often on concrete, they develop arthritis. And so they require pain relief for the rest of their lives once they're rescued.
Well, what an amazing story, and thank you for sharing that, and thank you for telling us this rescue story because this is just one of so many, right? So, I mean, I even have written down here you've rescued over 50 animals just from the Tiger King episode as well. So why don't you share another rescue story with us? This is so fun.
Yeah. So I can tell a story about the time that we went to Joe Exotic's Roadside Zoo to rescue 19 tigers.
Wow.
So Joe wasn't supposed to be there, but the zoo had taken in 19 tigers from another facility that PETA was suing. And as a result of that, Joe and his business partner at the time, Jeff Lowe, were either going to get embroiled in that lawsuit themselves, or they had to turn over the cats to PETA for placement. And so they opted for that. And so Joe wasn't supposed to be there, but of course we showed up on the day and he came walking out. So my job was to keep Joe occupied while the sanctuaries actually moved the tigers so that he didn't get in the way.
Wow.
So
what did you do, Brittany? What did you do to distract him?
Well, we kind of made friends.
Okay.
And he took
Your dog
me
is
around.
listening. Your dog is listening. He is like, yeah, what did you do, Brittany?
He's very interested. Yeah. So we walked around the zoo and he showed me anything that I wanted to see. And, we started talking about possibly getting out of the industry, which never happened until he was arrested. But we kept in touch after that, and we ended up, as a result of those ongoing interactions, we were able to rescue 20 more tigers, 3 bears, 2 baboons, and they're so beautiful. And then just before he fled the zoo and was arrested, he texted me asking for help to place the 2 chimpanzees at the facility. So
that's kind of nice.
Thank goodness we were able to help place those instead of them being placed in a roadside zoo. So sometimes, when you have an opportunity to make nice with someone, who's seemingly an enemy, and there aren't always a lot of opportunities to do that, but it can result in a lot of good.
Well, Joe, he likes to describe himself as outspoken, good
he is.
Looking,
Whoa,
and he likes to have fun, is what he says about himself.
Well, we all think those things, buddy. But
you think that about him?
No, about ourselves, not about him. I don't know if we're supposed to go there, but what has he done that got him so in trouble? Was he also like hitting animals in front of the public?
Yeah, so that was one of the things that got him in trouble. He he was horrific to animals. He was a monster. The biggest his biggest charge was for the fact that he hired 2 different people to murder Carol Baskin. Thankfully, he didn't succeed, but he was charged and convicted on 2 counts of murder for hire.
Wow. I did not know that part.
Yeah, and then he was also convicted on a number of counts of violating the Endangered Species Act, both for trafficking in endangered species and also for, as Jamie said, shooting a number of tigers in the head in order to make room for tigers that he was being paid to keep at his facility from a circus exhibitor for the season.
Wow.
What can people do to help end roadside zoos and not support them?
So the biggest thing that everyone can do, and if everybody did this, we could end this industry tomorrow.
What?
Don't buy a ticket.
Okay.
Yeah, don't buy a ticket. Just don't go. It's really that simple. Don't go to roadside zoos. And another really important thing for people to do, especially now, even though big cat cub petting is illegal in the United States, there is still a massive issue of public contact with wild animals. This is what makes these seedy roadside zoo operators rich.
Right.
So never, ever, ever pay to pose with a sloth or an otter or a lemur or any wild animal. And if you see your friends and family posting photos of themselves doing it, please speak up.
Yeah.
And please let us know whenever you see a facility that's doing this or hear about a facility that's doing this. But what we want to do is we want to make it as toxic to post photos of yourself on Instagram posing with a sloth as it is to wear a fur coat.
Yeah.
So let's all work together and make that happen.
I agree. Would you say like that, like the roadside zoos, that's also like abroad, right? Like I know people are like, oh, I want to ride these elephants when I go over here. Those are kind of roadside zoos, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No reputable facility will allow you to ride an elephant, to bathe an elephant, or to get anywhere near an elephant. They're deadly. They can kill you with a flick of their trunk.
Right. Yeah.
And when something like that happens, it's ultimately the animal that suffers. And that's why no reputable facility would ever allow you to get anywhere near an elephant.
Appreciate them from afar.
So if people wanted something to do on the weekends and they want to see animals or interact with them, what would you recommend they go to or look for?
You can go to the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries website, and that has an interactive map of all of the accredited sanctuaries across the United States. Not all of them are open to the public, but a lot of them are.
Okay.
And they do guided educational tours where you'll be able to see rescued animals engaging in natural behavior, swimming in pools, foraging. And you'll also learn their stories, and you'll learn more about these industries and what you can do to help stop them.
I just wanted to say, what would you tell people who are interested in becoming a lawyer for the animals? What advice would you give her?
I mean, I would just say that I have the best job in the world. I really do. And I tell myself that all the time. I'm so grateful that I get to do this work and to help animals and to work with some of the best human beings on the planet. So I would just say, go for it. Do it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brittany.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
I'm a big fan of Dillan with Double L Dillan. I'm gonna Double L Dillan. I'm gonna look him up, and I might have a poster of him.
Well, Double L Dillan is now double X small.
What? he's like double X small. Okay, but no, I can't wait to see those pictures of
I'm
Dillan.
so happy for him. The only reason I'm happy and laughing about this now is because he's safe now and rescued, and thank God he's away from those psychopaths.
Right.
Well, I wanted to just share before we wrap things up a story for you all.
No.
And this is just to reinforce exactly why we should be staying away from wild animals.
Okay.
And as Brittany said, this is exactly why we should keep our distance. So
Keep our
distance. When I was younger, my parents took me on a safari. I must have been like 2 years old.
Where?
It was in Africa.
You're like in Disney World. No.
Yeah. Somewhere in Africa. And I was like 2. And we were on a safari. And this is just...
I was like, you remembered that shit. It was traumatizing?
No, it was told.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
sort of remember parts of it. But I was sitting on my dad's lap. And... there were elephants that were walking alongside next to us. Obviously, this is unethical that we're like in their enclosure with them.
Right.
And the elephant took his little nose and grabbed me from my dad's lap and ran off with me.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You believe your dad. You believe him.
And the safari had to chase us.
Liar.
I'm like running with the elephant.
Jamie.
This is exactly why you should not go to places where they abuse and they get close with the animals, because there could be an elephant that grabs you and runs off with you. Okay, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. I thought it would be a good dramatic story to end on.
I was like, we probably would have been dead, or this explains everything.
This could happen though.
It could happen. I've seen videos where animals have like gone into cars and people act all shocked and freaked out. I'm like, this animal's acting like how he's supposed to act. If you came into my house, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, and I don't even know, in my mind when I was thinking through this fictional story, I don't know if the elephant was doing it in a malicious way.
He was just for fun. He was like, and this is where we take you.
In my mind when I was coming up with this story, I thought that maybe the elephant just liked babies and wanted to grab me and hold me.
I cannot. When you were making up the story, you were thinking about his backstory and choices. Jamie, get the fuck out of here.
Well, I learned a lot this episode. I'm very grateful that Brittany was able to come on, and all the great work that PETA's doing for the animals that are kept in roadside zoos.
Yeah.
Helping to end that and let them live out their lives in peace at sanctuaries.
Right.
So may all living beings be happy and free from suffering.
Yes.
We can only hope that more of these type of rescues happen, and eventually one day we won't have to rescue animals because these places won't be allowed to exist.
I know. It just, not to kill your dream, y'all, but like, it's just the truth. Admire them from afar in like videos.
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry, but it's true.
Well, you guys know where to find me. I'm at It's Jamie's Corner.
I'm at Justina.Justina.
Give PETA a follow, and Just So You Know podcast a follow as well.
Mm-hmm. Share, comment, let us know if you know anything about Tiger King or other roadside zoos that you've experienced or heard of, and feel free to continue to research on PETA's website for resources, because the resources are there. So use it and abuse the website.
So until next time, guys, we will be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back.